So excited to get to this point. I finished my headliner of my car. It looks great. The last pieces, of course, are the covers for the visors, and you can see here again that I've taken all the fabric. This is the fabric off of the visors in order to rewrap them. So I've had to cut the back side of this out in order to pop this out. You can see I just have it taped here so that I can tuck in. I'll have to pull this out just a little bit to tuck in the fabric along the sides. And then, of course, in the middle that's come apart, we're going to glue all that. I have purchased this glue here, clear, and it's Gorilla Glue, and I'm going to put it in between here and then hold this together. So that'll all be done that way. That's my plan so far, at least. But again, you know, I think I showed in the previous video where you just cut this out in order to get to the back side of the mirror so that you can push out these tabs and pull this out. So that's what this looks like. And then, of course, in the very end, I am going to have to repaint these pieces here because I probably should not have painted them first, but it is what it is, so we'll keep moving. So you can see here I do have my Alcantara fabric here. On the back side, this is one of the pieces of fabric here, again, that I've pulled off from the headliner, or from the visors. And I used a green marker this time because I initially did it with black, but I'm kind of rethinking it, so I used green so I know where to cut. This, of course, is for the mirror. This is for the joint, the click and where it mounts, and then this is for the long arm here where it plugs in. So I'm gonna cut this just like this because I already know this one fits, so this will also fit on the visor, what we're looking to do. Okay, so that is our next step. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out, and then we'll start fitting this on and then start spray gluing it on and moving on to get this completed. Very excited to get to this point. Okay, so I have some fabric here, same Alcantara fabric, you know, the suede, but this has no pad on it. The fabric that I used for my headliner had a pad on it, so I wanted that, of course, so that it would feel a little more plush. But this fabric is really what's used for these items, which, you know, cover the mirrors, right? They magnetize to the mirrors. So I don't want these to be real thick, as thick. I'm going to use the same Alcantara plush fabric along the visor, but for these little pieces here that just magnetize, I don't want them to be too puffy. So these things are really thin. So I'm using a fabric without a pad. So I'm just gonna outline these, and then I'm gonna do both sides. I'm gonna glue on both sides, and that should be done. And the seam on these is really just glued all the way and then just cut. For the OEM, there's not really like a sewn seam. So I'm just going to do the same thing, and should be totally fine. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm just pre-fitting the fabric on there. I've cut it, put a line down the middle because I'm going to spray this and I'm going to spray this. I've taped the mirror because, of course, I don't want to get any glue on the mirror. So I'm just going to spray this. I put the back on here and just taped it to hold it on. And then when I get this in, I'm going to click this into those four. When I get this ready, I'm going to click this mirror back into its slot, so I don't need this open anymore, and that's why I've taped that back together. So again, I'm just kind of looking at this and matching it up, and you can see here, this, get it off the table here, so you can see this matches up. So we're just going to be tucking this in. This piece here just comes loose, and it's loose up here already on top. So we're just going to be tucking it in here. But first, what we're going to do is spray everything and then lay this on, lay this together and push it all down. And the last thing we'll do is tuck it in, and then we're going to trim it, and then we're going to very carefully be tucking it in the edges here, right, along this whole piece, and then over here as well on the pole area too. Okay, so that's our other thing that we're going to be doing, is tucking in here and getting all that completed. So yeah, it's a little tedious, but it's going to look awesome when it's done. So I'm very excited to kind of get this done and just do it already and just glue this down and, spend the time trimming and tucking here and trimming and then gluing everything together. Okay. All right. So here we go. Okay. We are ready. I've now sprayed both pieces here. So I'm just getting the sun visor itself. All right, so you can see here the cutouts, and we're just going to bring it to the table over here. Let me make sure the video is showing. Yep, okay. So I need to bring this way so I can leave the arm off of the table. All right, so I actually need to turn this around. All right, bring it far this way. Okay, because the arm's over here. All right, so we're just gonna seat it in here where I want it to basically hit. Ooh, sticky. Because I want it to hit right in the middle. Come this way a little bit. Okay. I want to center it on here and right there. Okay, that's my line. Okay, so let's do the back side of this. Pull this up. Yep. Okay. And again, very sticky. Just fit it all around. Make sure the video is showing this. Yep. Okay. And just centered it. Okay. Just gotta be careful. All right. All right, so it's looking good. Now I got glue on this hand. Just don't want to get any glue on the other side. Just wiping my hand off a little bit here. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is also lift this mirror up a little bit, making sure the video's showing that, because I want to feed it through this hole and have that sit all the way down in there. So very carefully, lay this top part here over, just the very top. And again, we're going to be tucking this in here in a second. I'm just trying to make sure it's all okay. Now let's feed this through. The wires on the back of this are what's holding us down, so we guys got to be careful. So you can see I'm just feeding this through and around. And again, this is why you put the tape on, because otherwise your mirror would be full. You can see there my tape has gotten stuck. Don't want to mess this up. Come on, tape. Very careful, tape. Please don't mess me up, tape. Okay, we're good there. Barely good. Because that's the edge. Same thing here, just stretch it over. Okay, the wires are still good. Okay, same thing. Okay, we want to lay it down here inside. Okay, keep laying it down here. Whew, that tape almost messed me up. It was sticking the glue. Okay, we are good though. Oh yeah, looking good. And now I'm just pushing down, and now I'm going to pull this tape off because I don't want to get any glue on my Alcantara fabric. Okay, so use some duct tape, and I put our flap on. I held it in the back, the little divots. So now we're ready to snap this thing down. My little glass came off, and you can see it's just sticky tape. That's what these things are. So they just sticky tape right back on. They go on a certain way. You can see these items are a little more over this way. So I'm going to push that in first. Going to seat that down in there. And again, this is glass, so be careful. And now we're just making sure that our 4 little divots are open, our little clips, in order to push this down. And yep, I think we're good. Okay. And actually, I'm going to put it in this way because I want to make sure that this outer fabric goes in first, so that it kind of comes down and then we kind of seat it this way. You can see how I'm pushing it this way first, and then let's push this side down. And again, be careful because it is glass and it is tighter. And that should, I think I slipped, wasn't holding it. Gotta pop that out again. Carefully. Well, maybe I'll just leave it in there and continue down the path that I was going here. This is why I taped it. Oh, there it goes. Okay, push this side in first. And very carefully without breaking this glass. You can feel it going in. It's very tight. Tuck this in here. On the back side. Okay, yeah. Careful your material, you don't want to hurt it. And there it is. It's very tight right now. You can see as I'm pushing down, let me show in the video how I'm pushing down and it's just flapping back up. Let me get a different angle as I let go. So it's going to take it a little bit to kind of soften here, but otherwise it looks great. Look at that. It looks fabulous. But yeah, so it pops open. So it's going to need to soften this edge here because it is a little tight, and you just need to tuck it in. Make sure that's all good. But that looks so good, right? I mean, after all that work, it is in. Clicking into those clips. It's good. Tucking in again just to make sure. Looks good. Now that helped a little bit. Tuck that in. Yep. And it'll magnetize. It's magnetizing now, but it's just the edge here is making it pop open. But it'll soften. It'll soften. So it looks great. So we've tucked in this. I need to clean this now. Gosh, don't do that, everybody. Cover this with tape so you don't have to clean this after the fact. So I'll have to use some rubbing alcohol and clean that. That's annoying, but that's my fault there. So put some tape over that before you spray, just like this side. Like I put tape on this side. Why didn't I do that on that side? But anyways, okay, so now we're just going to trim it. I'll trim most of this off camera, and then I'll come back as I show we're tucking in. But again, we're just trying to cut it as close as we can to the edges, and then we're just going to tuck in the pieces between the middle. That's all we're doing, okay? All right, so let me get that done. Okay, so I've already started doing this. I wanted to bring it close to the camera so you could see. And I'm just, again, sorry for moving the camera. I'm just using this tool, and you see it's kind of curved. So I'm just pushing in one side, and then I flip over, and then I'm pushing the other side in. And just going slowly, and then you can see how it's just kind of going in there. But yeah, already looks better. Definitely like it that way better. And just as a reminder, then for doing this, just make sure you're leaving enough. Right, I left enough on the edges here to be able to tuck both sides in. So going well. So I'll show at the very end again. Okay, so here's the clip. I've tucked it all in using the same orange tool. And now along the seam as well, you'll see that a little bit is still not 100% closed. So we're gonna need to use this glue that I purchased. And it's just glue. You can buy whatever you want, but we're gonna need to put that in between there and then hold it together with a clip. So I just have some clips that I'm gonna use to make sure that those are held together as the glue dries. So just depending on your setup and how yours goes, you may need to do that, or you may not need to, just based on how good on how tight the seam is. Okay, so last step is we do need to, here in this seam down here, and you do need to put a little bit of this Gorilla Glue, clear grip is what it's called. You could buy anything. I just saw this whatever. It's just glue. So I'm just gonna open this a little bit, stick that in there, squish some in there, and then I'm gonna hold it together. And I have a couple of wristbands. What I don't want with these clips are super strong. You don't need such strong clips, but when I clip these, you don't want to leave the impression on here. So I'm just using wristbands to give me some cushion, so when I hold it, it doesn't leave an impression. So I have another clip back here. So, and make sure you're doing this very carefully. Of course, you don't want to get any of this glue on your Alcantara. It will be screwed up and messed up for all that work you just did. So, let's go ahead and get this applied. So I'm going to need a little bit right here. Let everybody know that I did end up painting these first, but ended up not liking the black paint, so I'm just gonna leave them the OEM gray that they are, and I think it looks fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think just putting paint on there, it's not gonna stick well, it's not gonna look right, so I am gonna leave them the gray. But also just wanted to show you that this one, as I complete these and how everything looks, I think it looks fabulous. As far as the look of it with that light gray and how all the seams come out. So hopefully you're able to do this in the same way. Okay, so I am complete. It is awesome. I've cleaned this guy. I've cleaned this guy. I'm just got to do a little bit around the edges there, but overall it's clean. I need to vacuum this thing before I put it on. It's dirty just from working here on the table. But other than that, it's all done. The seams are done. So you can see here the seam. I'm just holding one last part here. And I'm going to go mount it right now while I'm waiting for this one to dry. But otherwise, it is done.